It is so great to be here. I'm a little nervous. The last time I was on the stage was probably like 4.5 years ago, and I was younger, full of joy, a lot less baggage, so please bear with me on this. But today, they had us do these slides, and if you want to learn about me, go to my LinkedIn, let's connect, all about that. But if you can see, I'm not a wordsmith. This is a very long title, but it's really, really hard to grasp how you can build a community for your members, by your members, and then throw in some B2B SaaS buzzwords like growth and scalability, because that's what our investors and managers want. And so today we're really going to go through that. There's going to be hopefully some hard truths, hopefully some learnings. There's going to be stuff that you may want the graphic for, and I'll send that to you guys. And if not, just LinkedIn me and let me know you want it anyways to make me feel good. But I'm excited for this, and I want this to be really impactful and engaging for you all. So unlike other conversations that have their Q&A at the end, if there's any questions that you have, just raise your hand. I can see you and shout it out, because there may be things you disagree with. Let's have that conversation. There may be things that are like, oh, this is great. And I'll be like, that's great also, thank you. So let's get started. We've got about 28 minutes, and we'll keep the time on this for y'all. So hard truths. When you're building a community like this, you can't make everyone happy, okay? You're not going to be able to please everyone. You're not always going to have the best messages from members because you use @channel too many times in Slack or @here too many times in Slack. But you've got to figure out what is going to be the best for all the masses in your community. And so some people may get upset, and that's okay. You can't always make everyone happy. And as a perfectionist who thrives off of that, it is very, very, very difficult, okay? Yeah, it's really tough. You'll become emotionally exhausted. How many of you breathe life into your community? Raise your hand. Do you love what you do? You are so excited every single day maybe to log in and see that people are making changes in their careers because of the community you've helped facilitate, right? You become exhausted because you're investing so much of yourself in that community. And it's tough. You're building with your heart, and hopefully you're making relationships from that, okay? Now, you're going to have to make hard choices. You can't always do every type of program or happy hour or dinner or event or whatever type of gamification that you think you want or that your boss wants, right? I'm sure many of us have had that conversation with our leadership of, okay, do we really need a badge for that? And that's tough sometimes. You're going to have to really decide on those activities that are so important to your members. And we'll get to how you figure that out. But most importantly, you're going to be filled with so much joy that makes community building worth it, right? We all have those moments where we're like, holy crap, this person got a new job because I was able to connect them with someone. Or they got a raise because they got this template from someone in the community they wouldn't have met otherwise if it wasn't for that space. And that's really stinking cool. Like, what we do is amazing, and we're changing people's lives. Like, if you don't get that yet, hopefully you will, because they're also changing ours, and it's awesome. So those are our hard truths that we're dealing with today, and hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to get through the rest of this. So because people like random things like this, I spent so much time figuring out what letters to use. We are going through the 4 S's, okay, to support a truly member-driven community. Everyone loves these. I know, I'm so sorry. Everyone likes 3s. Couldn't keep it to 3. So we're going to go through social proof, support, studying, and scaling, which is probably what many of you want to do today. Okay, social proof. I love this. I love this, I love this, I love this. If you are a community manager and you haven't asked your boss, why do you think we should do this? Then you need to listen to this, because social proof is everything. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And it's because my members have asked me. Who is asking me? How many members are asking me this? Okay? You need to have that data together. Secondly, is there a need for this community? This is a really scary question. I just had to go through this at my last company, and I didn't leave because of the answer to this. But sometimes you have to say, is there a need for this, right? Do we actually need to have a community for this? Is this success support community, is it actually valid? Are people actually asking for this? And do we really, really need it? Are people that are saying yes who you want in the community? Why this is important, if you're interviewing the same people time and time again, you're getting an echo chamber. And so you're always going to get the same answers. You're always going to be encouraged. And you can fall into a trap that's really, really hard sometimes, because I love when people encourage me. I love whenever they're like, this is the best idea ever. So of course I'm going to keep asking them. It makes me feel good. But you can't do that. So, keep that in mind. Are the people saying yes? Very simple example. If you're building a marketing community, should you be asking a salesperson if that community should exist? Probably not. So, keep that in mind. Okay, how do you find out? This seems very elementary. However, many of us don't actually do this. We need to be asking people. We need to be having conversations. A lot of this should be happening in your planning phase, in sales terms, discovery phase, okay? We need to be figuring out who are our prospective members, who do we want in the community, and having these conversations. But even more importantly, you need to be building relationships with these people. This is so important because the scale. These relationships that you're building now is truly your foundation for how you're going to scale and grow your community, okay? Now, not only do you take advice and feedback from your members, but you really should try and figure out how to implement it, or share with them, hey, we were able to use this. This was a great idea. This wasn't a great idea. And figure out, or, I forgot this one, hey, we loved it. I think we're going to go a different direction based off of this. Be honest with your members during these conversations and your prospective members. They'll respect you so much for that. Okay. So yeah, take advice. Most importantly, keep track of everything. Okay, who's a Google Sheet person like I am? Excel sheets? No, everyone just writes in a notebook like I used to? Is that it? Okay, that's fair. My notebook has horses on it. Makes me feel cool, so I love it. No, but seriously, keep track of everything, because what you're going to have to do eventually is you're going to have to go to your executive team and say, here's all these people, all these titles, all these companies, top tier prospect accounts, top customers that we're trying to expand upon, reduce their high risk for churn, whatever it is. You're going to have to go to your executive team and say, this is why we need a community. Here's what people are saying, and break this down into beautiful little charts with 3 items on a slide, and show them that. And they're going to think it's the most ridiculous thing that it took you months and months and months to figure this out and to have those conversations, but it's absolutely worth it, okay? So take your time, go through that. We did this at the demand community I'm currently building, and we did it at Sales Hacker, and we did it at Clary, and a few other places. You have to be asking your prospective members. These are the people that you want in your community. Why aren't you asking for their feedback, right? So many times we spend watching what other people are doing and saying, oh, I want to do this too. This looks cool. I want to do this type of pop-up or happy hour or whatever. Or I need to have this channel because everyone else has a praise channel, so we should do this. But does your community actually want that? And do your prospective members want that? So really, really keep track, make charts, figure this out. You're going to use it to convince your executive team, get that budget that we all so desperately need. But another thing I kind of want to add on this, whenever you're talking to people, if you can, send them something, right? There was a huge thing on LinkedIn a couple months back. Well, I guess, I don't know. My concept of time has disappeared. But I guess during COVID, everyone was wanting to connect with each other, and everyone was wanting to get 30 minutes with somebody. And there was a whole thing about how it was so disrespectful to not pay them for their time. So sending gift cards started becoming a thing again. And I love that. I'm a big fan of sending them. I think it's great. But we should be doing this to our prospective members also, because what you're also doing whenever you're sending them that gift card is you're showing that you listened. Maybe they're a Dunkin' fan. Don't send them a Starbucks gift card. You heard that in the message, you heard that in the call. Send them a Dunkin' card. And in sales, Samantha McKenna calls it the show me you know me. And so just like with your members, you want to show them that you know them. But you also want to keep them engaged, and they're going to remember that interaction, right? Think about a time in your life when you met someone who just made you feel good about yourself. Could be at the mall and there was a super excited sales associate that said you look amazing, right? Or your boss said, wow, that was really great work. Okay? Think about those times and you wanted to go back and replicate that, that's exactly what you can do with your community members. Okay, support, because we all have a lot of support, right? We all are so supported by our organizations. We are also supported by everyone that we see in our company, and not only do they tell you that they support you, but they actually help, right? Come on, you guys, no. We all know better than that. We're not supported half the time. And the other time is we're being told, we're given such great advice of, you should do this and you should do that, and you need to have a knowledge base that the community owns, and you need to do weekly webinars, but we're not going to help you source anything, plan it, host it, finish, edit, whatever, right? So I hope that resonates because we've all been there. And if you haven't, I promise it'll probably happen, but you are incredibly lucky. My poor husband, you guys, I love him to pieces, but what I'm about to tell you is what I do so frequently for him, and it's called voluntelling. So it's like volunteering, but you're told to help. And I know that's kind of crazy, but this little sheet here is what helps me get as much support as I possibly need, okay? It is called a governance sheet. Has anyone used one? No? One? Okay. Governance sheets are amazing. There's a few reasons why these are so helpful. One, you get to keep track of who's actually helping you in your community, internally and externally, okay? Two, you're able to go to your executive leadership team and say, you want this to be successful. You want me to bring in all these prospects. You want me to do all these things, right? Here's who I need to support me, and here's how I need them to support me, and the frequency. So if you look over here, I know it's small. This is all a cadence for everyone, okay? So I want to meet with my customer success leadership team 1 time a month, 45 to 60 minutes for the first 3 months, and then 1 time a quarter for check-ins, right? If I'm meeting with my education team, because I'm integrating my platform with my LMS, I want to meet an hour to an hour and a half every month with them. Because I want to figure out promotion schedules. I want to figure out how I can get our community members using that platform, and vice versa. And badge integrations, love that, okay? So this is super important. And what I love about these is, one, it keeps you organized. So if you're like me, you use a Google Sheet notebook, and you build everything. I've got 37 tabs in my Google Sheet right now. It's very embarrassing. And half of the labels on them are like a little wonky, so it's really sad. But it's like volunteers for this, volunteers for that. So I completely cut all of that out, and I built this. This slide usually sits inside of my executive roadshow deck. So anytime someone needs anything from the community, I can show them this. If I'm meeting with leadership, they see this. It's really important to have. Also, you don't always have to use this internally. You can do this externally. So as we've passed the point of figuring out if we need a community, and we're here at how are we going to support the community and who can I count on, you're actually able to then do this externally. So you've got super excited user member 1, you put them up here. You set up a monthly cadence with them. They love that, right? How many times are you filled with joy and excitement whenever someone asks for your help or your opinion? Granted, I will put a caveat. If it's like added work and stuff, we're oftentimes not very excited. But if someone's asking for your opinion and then they take your opinion, that's amazing. That never happens, okay? So this is really exciting. I would actually add a notes column right here too to talk about what was on like the past meetup, right? But this is really important. You want to get support. This is a way to get help from your executive team of, hey, I need help from these people. I need design to not put all marketing's events ahead of mine. I need education to actually support me and share with my customers that we have this channel for them. I need my support and product teams to actually live in my customer channel so that they can answer questions and it's not just this weird echo hall of nothingness. Okay, there's a lot of things. Oh no, I broke it. Did I break it? Am I unplugged? That's unfortunate. Okay. I told them I was really worried about this because I obviously talk with my hands a lot. It's fine though. So anywho, this is super important. If you want this, I can send you an editable form so you can just keep adding to it. It's very easy. It's not anything crazy. But yeah, it's great. Okay, so we're getting to study. We're almost done with this for you guys, okay? Study. What can you study? These are all great things to study. Okay, and I know many of you are going to say, but a lot of them are vanity metrics. Well, don't just take it at face value, okay? Let's go deeper. So if we're looking at member behavior and member engagement, and I see that they're all posting all these times, side note, if you want a great tool for this, Common Room, they're here. It's an awesome tool because whenever I'm looking at my member behavior and engagement, same thing with topics, I can actually see when they're posting, when they're not posting. So I can pre-seed based off of past trends to keep that excitement and engagement a little bit more level than it was. That's huge because also my funding is purely from my boss. And these are things that make him really happy. I know it's vanity, but also you have to make your boss happy to keep your job. So those are some things that are very, very, very important. Checking out how many people are posting, when they're posting. Do you have standout members that are posting? This did not mean to make this a pitch, I'm so sorry. But it's a really cool tool because what I'm doing with it is actually keeping track of the members who are most engaged. And so that way I can turn them into members of the week. And you know what happens when someone gets recognized? They stay with your community at least a little bit longer. At least a little bit longer, okay? And that's exciting. And then they share it on social. So not only do you have a happier member, someone who's going to engage a little bit longer, but you also have access to that person's entire LinkedIn network and probably their family. If they're anything like me, I send that stuff straight to my awesome family group text. Not like anyone cares about my dad is about to retire from education's opinions, but it's a really cool thing to do. Also, you want to figure out what's happening outside of your community. What are the conversations that are happening that could be inside your community? So this is something I'm going to be starting to implement over the next few weeks is figuring out what my members are saying outside, bringing that conversation into my community, and starting to seed it that way, tagging those people. Hey, Tim Davidson, this was a great post. Love this video, blah, 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 right? He gets excited. We're shouting him out. And then those conversations are happening in the community. And then, hopefully, Tim will go to his LinkedIn post and say, hey, we're actually having this conversation here in this community, and we're doing a roundtable based on it. And then hopefully I've just got a bunch of new members because everyone loves Tim, okay? Member feedback. How many of you are actually asking for feedback? Wait a second, don't answer. How many of you are asking for feedback via survey? Okay, how many of you are individually messaging every single one of your members to ask for feedback and keeping track of it? Good. Surveys, you're probably not getting as many results as you want. You're probably spending a lot of money to incentivize it. $500 gift card here, $500 gift card there, AirPods here, dinner at Chili's for two there. You know what? It's great. Chili's is great. Not even going to dog on it. It's great. But ask for your member feedback often and always, okay? Keep track of it. You can put that in the governance doc. You can put it in a Google Sheet. Whatever you're doing, keep track of it. Share it with your community team. LOL, because we're mostly community teams of one. But whoever else is talking with, if it's a customer community, share it with them. If you have prospects in that community, share it with your sales team. Okay, enable them, and they're going to owe you big time, and you may get to go to a sales offsite, and those are really, really fun if you haven't been. There's a lot of great things you can do with member feedback, but most importantly, do something with it. Show the changes you're making based off that feedback. Right? Once again, very frustrating. You've done the survey, you didn't get the gift card, and it's not like they listened anyways. Okay? So do something with that feedback, keep track of it. Yes.
So I run a community of like 75,000 people.
Awesome.
So I can't talk to all of them, which is why I think we keep on sending a survey.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have guidance on like who we should be talking to?
Yeah.
Only a small handful of people.
Great question. So she has a massive community, 75,000. If someone's hiring, sounds like you should hire her. And how does she do this at scale, right? How do you do this at scale? That's why you send surveys. It's a lot easier. Great questions. One, I wouldn't be asking your active members. I wouldn't be asking your power users. You know why? They're already in your community. And those are the ones that if they've got a problem, they're probably messaging you. I want to know why people aren't coming back to my community. I want to know why they don't want to keep engaging. What happened? What made that shift in their mind? So that's what I would start doing. Make that list. Also, the joys of customization at scale, right? Who's a HubSpot user? HubSpot, Marketo, Outreach, anything. Okay. If you're not using the email automation tool, you probably should check that out. But that's what I would do, is I would actually do customization at scale. So I would customize that email. Hey, Jill, loved what you're doing in the community for active users. Would love to get your insights. You've been involved for a while. How's it going? What do you think? And this isn't about you as a community manager. This is about how do I make my members happy, right? And how do I make sure that they're getting what they need? And if it's not from our community, how do I make our community the place for them? For your super, very much a lurker member, you say, hey, Jill, it's been a while. I missed you. What's going on? I actually did that. Sales Hacker, 30,000 members. And that's what I sent out. And you know what I got? My wife just had a baby. I just lost a job. I just got a job. I'm going into retirement. I'm going to be an educator. I left education. You name it. But then what you get to do with that is you get to be a human with them. You get to build that relationship and say, hey, that's awesome, or I'm so sorry. Who can I connect you with? Who do you know in this community that you would like to meet for an interview that I can maybe facilitate that introduction, right? So, and let's face it, 75,000 members, you're not going to get 100% response, right? It's very difficult. And honestly, if you've got that, that's amazing, because we'll need to talk. But yeah, so talk about that. Same thing, event registration. What are the topics that people are most interested in? And how can you replicate that to have continued success? I know a lot of this sounds very elementary. However, it is so incredibly hard to continue implementing these whenever we have hundreds of other things going on in our life. But if we can continue setting a strong foundation like this, then we're able to build on top of that, and we can start growing and scaling. Yes?
With feedback.
Yes.
When you're having these conversations,
Yes.
frameworks for that stuff, resources of how to get good at asking questions that give you good qualitative insights in that.
I would definitely check out Jenny and Pablo. The question was resources for getting that really great qualitative information and that feedback, frameworks, talk tracks, stuff like that. If you guys want mine, I'm more than welcome to share. But these two back here, Jenny and Pablo, they're amazing, and they would probably be great resources. Well, just LinkedIn me and I'll send you some. I guess I should make a website. I don't know, but anyway, if you're interested, like I said, they're very human. I was horrible in sales purely from the fact that I don't like regurgitating marketing shit, and so I'm on a marketing team, and I have the best marketers. I mean, they're complete rock stars, and they're funny because they're like, write like the really cool person that you want to be friends with. I'm like, I am not that person. I have no idea how to write like that. But I just try and be real with it, and I just try and say like, hey, I miss you. It's been a while. What is going on? And with HubSpot and some of the integrations, you can customize it. First name, company. You may be able to even customize like how long it's been that they've last logged into your community. So you can kind of edit and mess with that stuff. But if you want my talk tracks, definitely let me know. Easy peasy. Okay, scaling. Because that's what we want to do. Because that's how we save our jobs. That's how we keep our bosses happy. And that's how we maybe get budget for swag and happy hours and dinners. And we love that. So remember those members that we engaged with from day one when our community was just a little glimpse in our mind because someone on the executive team said, we need a community. And we're going to pull so-and-so from CS to build this community, right? So remember those members you engaged with from day one? They are now your arms, your legs, your feet, your voice, everything. You've kept track of them. You've been forming that relationship and building that bond with them. They appreciate what you're doing because you're listening, because you're implementing what they are sharing with you. These help you scale. Let's think about it. How many of you have joined a CMX Connect event? Happy hour, webinar, dinner. Most of the time, it's not even a CMX employee, right? Right? Those are volunteers. Those are your day ones. You enable them, you train them, you put them through a session or two, you go through an interview process, and they start being your hands and your feet. And they start being that warm hug for your members when you can't. When you get to 30,000, 50, 75,000 members, those are the people that are going to be able to relay the joy and excitement that you have as a community manager for that person as they are your voice, okay? Ownership encourages scalability. This is my favorite thing. It is one of the scariest things you can do. So what we're doing at the Demand community, it's for all marketers. We have a private channel for our customers, but it's scary because we are making our members our owners. They are choosing our platform with us. They were part of our launch party where we said, this is really for you, by you. So we're gonna do these things so that you guys can participate. We are constantly polling our community members, asking them, what topics are you most interested in? Where do you have your biggest problems with your jobs? Because I want every event, kind of like what Priya was saying, I want it to be intentional. I want my members to be so excited because it's something that they can take home today, whether they have a product, a tool, software, budget, or not, and they can make a change in their job that moment. That is what I want. And you can't do that without having members who aren't owners because they're not invested, okay? This is huge. This is, honestly, I think if you can take anything away today, it's this. Ownership encourages scalability. These are your people that are going to go above and beyond. They will constantly bring your name up in a positive way. They are going to be your super users, your power users. They are your advocates, your evangelists, however you want to look at it. But this is huge, okay? And once again, you don't have to host everything. That's why you have these people. That's why you've built these relationships. Once again, our community teams, it's mostly us, right? So whenever you think about it, it's very scary and daunting to be hosting 2 roundtables every week, an AMA, 2 webinars, a happy hour, a remote working session, and all of that, and then trying to get all of your stuff done at once. That's very scary, and it's very, very difficult. If you're doing that, amazing, because I sure as hell can't. It's very hard. And put that all in 9 to 5. Remember, 9 to 5. Nice, healthy work balance, okay? So enable your members. Give them training. There's a lot of companies that have great training. There's a lot of great like community leader programs. Alteryx has a great one with their Alteryx ACE program, and they actually enable their ACE members. I believe they have to go through like a test and all sorts of stuff, but then they actually come into prospect calls to help close deals. And that's pretty stinking cool. Once again, be intentional. You're not growing just to grow. And I really encourage every single one of you to challenge your leadership. I know that sounds scary. You're like, but job security, it's fine. But just ask them because they'll appreciate the question is, why do I need to grow this big? What are we wanting to accomplish by having a community of 100,000, right? Especially if you're only getting 1,000 members to engage out of 100,000. Is that actually a healthy community? Is that actually worth your time, right? And especially if they're trying to leverage it for prospecting, you name it, that's not going to be the best thing for them, okay? So, takeaways. Plan with the 4 S's. Social proof, support, study, and scale. You want to make sure that you have a reason as to why you're building your community. You want to make sure you have support, and if it's difficult, and I promise you will have times when it is pulling teeth. It is so difficult to get any type of support. Talk to your leadership. It's absolutely worth it, and they're going to really, really appreciate that you had the gall, almost audacity, to bring it up to them as a problem because they probably don't even know. And they can actually do some heavy lifting for you, okay? Study, figure out what your members are doing, where they're doing it, what's important to them, and then start scaling, start enabling. Pick those topics, pick those trends, plan intentionally, okay? People want to see you succeed. There are people inside your organizations, and they come from the most unsuspecting places, I promise. I have folks in engineering that love it. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome, and leverage them because they want to see this be successful. And it's kind of cool whenever you can tap into different parts of your organization that you normally wouldn't interact with, okay? And I already kind of hit on playing intentionally. Make it worth your time, make it intentional, make it worth your members' time, and take your time. Build thoughtfully. And taking your time can look very different. It doesn't mean go very, very, very slow. I'm not going slow right now with the demand community, but we're doing everything else and we're building at the speed we need to, okay? And just remember, one community, you may have built it in 76 days or 100 days or 2 years. You can't compare the two. So that is me. That's my email. If you want to connect, that is my LinkedIn. Message me. And yeah, I hope this was this okay? Were you guys happy? Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, we're out of time, so.
We're not totally out of time, so I want to hold everyone hostage and ask you a question. So you talked so much about the humans, right? Okay. And every community is full of humans, and they're so human. What is a moment that you've had that, like that feeling that you had with another human, you think about it when you need that energy?
Oh, that's so good. Honestly, and I shared it earlier, I had a member whenever I was at Sales Hacker who had just lost their job. They were a beginning SDR. And I come from a sales background, so I knew a lot of folks. And she had actually messaged me and shared her plight. And I was actually able to help connect her with a few interviews, and they went forward. And ever since, and we always talk with each other now, so it was a really cool experience. But it's really fun. You know, we do it for the heart.
That was amazing. My heart is with Katie Ray. Let's hear it for her one more time. Thank you.